Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. And tonight I'll be sharing more true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all of the episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to donate, and ways to contact me at the podcast page. And that is salcidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or if you have stories or paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to share them on the show, either by reading them or having you join me on the show to talk about them. And so the plans for the rest of the week. Tomorrow night, I will be on with Derek again. At least that's the plan as of right now, to cover another Marvel Comics event and talk about its connections to the paranormal. And we're finally starting to get closer to current times within the comics. We're working our way towards it. So, and then Thursday is the paranormal news. And that's the end of the week. Also, of course, Thursday night, I will be on the Jess Rogie show. And that'll be fun. I will share a link to that, or you can just go to the Fringe website, the Fringe FM website, which is just fringe.fm. But I'll share links to that when it gets a little bit closer. So, in my social media and all of that. And I believe that covers everything for now. So, thank you all for being here and listening. Whether you listen to the live streams or you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds. Oops, and I just opened the wrong thing. One moment here. So, but yeah, so I think that covers everything. Thank you all for being here and supporting me in this new schedule. I do like it. It's nice to be back to it. So, but here we go with the stories. So this first one says, "Let me start by saying, before this sequence of events, I was 100% a non-believer of paranormal. I am still in shock at what I witnessed yesterday. But I'll tell you the whole thing from the beginning. 1 month ago, in my apartment building, some weird noises started, like someone was doing some construction work on their flat. I didn't pay much attention. Someone should be repairing stuff or something of that sort. It started on a Friday, and it was almost always in the afternoon when it started, ending at around 2 or 3 a.m. The weekend, same thing. Morning quiet, rest of the day busy with a noise, seeming like someone was hammering something. Everyone that was on the right side of the building, my side, was starting to get annoyed. Mostly because everyone wanted to rest to be able to work on the next day. Of course, we started to try to find the location of the source to try to pin down this to some apartment. There is also another building close to ours where the walls connect. I've gone to every apartment. I put my ear near the lock, and almost no sound, just propagation. The flat most affected is my upper neighbor, where she lives with her daughter. We thought that it should be the apartment above her making all this noise, even though the water supply is shut down. Same with electricity. So logically, no one should be living there. But we had to be 100% sure. So we called the owner and asked her kindly to open the apartment so we could check if someone was using it or had forced an entrance. No one was there, and the noise could be heard. It was coming from the apartment under, where my neighbor above lives. So we ruled out that the inhabited apartment, was the source. I think maybe they mean uninhabited apartment was the source. Time goes by, and this phenomenon repeats every day. No misses. Bangs on the wall, bangs on every division of the apartment of my neighbor, on the furniture, things falling on the bathroom and kitchen, etc. Police were called 3 times, but of course they couldn't solve anything. They entered this flat, also heard the noises, but could not pinpoint where all the sound was coming from. It also travels very fast, from the kitchen to the living room and such. Also on the corridor, this was on the first floor, we started to bang the wooden walls and we would have replies, more bangs from this unknown source. Even asking questions and saying, knock once for yes, knock twice for no. We would get replies. If I knock 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, etc., I will get the same number of knocks answering me. It is very weird. Fast forward to the last few days. Both my neighbor and her daughter went away for the weekend. Magically, the sound stopped. I didn't know this until yesterday. I just thought, finally, the noise went away. They returned yesterday. And guess what did also return? Yep, that's right. Knocking heck again. Noises again. So I was in the corridor with both my upper neighbor and another from the same corridor chatting. Both her and her daughter were outside the flat. Her daughter playing with another girl, the other neighbor's granddaughter. And by this time, zero noises. We were all relaxing on the corridor. But later on, her daughter went inside to pick a doll to play with. We started hearing the knocks again. Every single time her daughter went inside, we would hear, after 3 to 5 seconds, the knocks. So I asked my neighbor, can I go inside? She replies, yes, of course. I went inside, full silence. I stood there like 30 seconds, nothing. I came out, asked my neighbor if she can go inside as well. She goes inside, zero knocks. We ask her daughter if she can go inside again, and boom, knocking all over the place. I kid you not, this didn't miss in like 10 to 12 times she went inside. Every single time, knocks. Later on, another neighbor arrives in the corridor. We did the same request. He went inside, zero noises. Daughter went inside, full-blown knocks. I don't know how to deal or solve this situation. After what I've witnessed, I'm 100% sure this is something out of this world. And that's where the story ends. So, it's really odd. It seems like it's something to do possibly with that daughter, the young girl. I don't know if there's some kind of energy that she's generating that's manifesting as knocks. Although the replying is weird. It sounds like a poltergeist kind of thing in a way. But just the amount of knocking is odd. It seems like it's a lot. It's not just here or there. And I wonder, because that's the whole trope is that it's always caused by a young kid or young girl. But who's to say it's not some other some other consciousness in there that's making these sounds to try to communicate with the girl or with everyone there. It's just that somehow this girl is putting out enough energy to where this, whatever this is, can manifest, but only while she's there. It's really hard to pin down what's going on here, but really amazing story, and I sort of like how the writer of this story tried different things to try and figure it out, because I don't blame them. If it's keeping them up at night, that's not good. Um, but yeah, an amazing story there. I get random knocks here and there in this apartment. Within the apartment, I can tell it's within the space here. It's not inside the walls or next door, or there's nothing below or above me. It's just a single level building. So it's really, yeah, it's really odd. I don't know, but neat story. Hopefully things resolve. Maybe as the daughter gets older. Hopefully, I don't know how long. It seems like this story was just posted recently, so hopefully things get better there. But neat story there. So I've got two more here. These are all to this today's episode is very much kind of the haunted places kind of set of stories here. They want out? Yeah, I don't know. Could be. But anyway, so I just found it interesting that all these stories are kind of almost your stereotypical haunting kind of thing here. That I found tonight actually. I found them just before I started the show. So so this next story says, we live in a townhouse in Florida. Last night at 3:17 a.m., I'm guessing they mean, I woke up to light peering through our bedroom door. The hall light was on. I laid there for about 15 minutes trying to figure out if I left it on before bed. Then all of a sudden, it shut off. Now, of course, my first thought was an intruder. I quickly got my phone to look at the camera we have set up downstairs and saw that the kitchen light was on as well. I woke up my wife to ask her if we left any lights on before bed. She wanted me to go downstairs, check it out. Sometimes it's tough. It says, excuse me, says sometimes it's tough being the husband. But anyway, we both left our room and turned on each light switch that we passed as we went downstairs. I had my gun with me just in case we encountered any unwelcome guests. As we peeked around the corner of the stairs, we saw that our living room TV was on, the logo screen. Without any stretch of the truth at that exact moment, every light we had just turned on while coming downstairs, and the kitchen light that was already on turned off simultaneously. Only the glow, I mean everything turned off. Anyway, only the glow of the TV illuminated the house. Yeah, so everything turned off. Needless to say, we both freaked out. We ran back upstairs to our room and locked the door. She was just short of having a panic attack. This next part, while hard to believe, is the reason why I'm posting, trying to figure this out. As we sat there in bed, freaking out, the hall light turned on again. My wife screamed, "Stop, turn it off." And I kid you not, the light turned off. It's now 7:24, and she just fell back to sleep. I've been researching stuff all night, trying to figure it out. What do you think? First time this has ever happened, and we've lived here for 2 years. So again, these seemingly random things happening. Excuse me. Not knocks this time or sounds, but the electronics, the lights, and apparently the TV. Um, so again, the way these stories kind of worked out tonight, I found it really amazing that this kind of theme showed up in what I found. And I don't know. It seems like if it was bad electronics, then it would have been happening all the time already. Um, or it would continue to happen. I'm wondering how much this happened after the story was submitted. Um, I don't know, but really, just amazing that that's a lot of energy that's being used to make these sounds or turn on and off all these lights. So, yeah, amazing stories there so far already. Um, and these are both homes. So then I found this last story here, and we'll get started on this one. This one says, my boyfriend's sister invited us to visit New Hampshire with her to see her son's family, who lived there at the time. My grandmother was in hospice at the time, and so I couldn't go. But since I was the whiz at finding airfare and accommodations online, I was tasked with finding a place to stay near the location where 3 adults could stay for week, um, without breaking the bank. To my surprise and delight, I found a large multi-bedroom cottage with living room area, fold-out couch, and kitchenette for an extremely reasonable weekly rate price. When the time came to go, my boyfriend and his family flew off early in the morning for their 1 week stay. I was missing him a great deal because it was the first time we'd been apart since we started living together 5 years prior. I was expecting a call that evening to let me know they'd arrived. After about 10 p.m. that evening, a message popped up on my voicemail. No ring, and it was from this area. I listened to the message, and it was just about 30 seconds of static. No background voices or noise like one would expect from a pocket dial. I deleted the message, I wish I hadn't, and went to sleep. The next day I got another phone call from my boyfriend, and he excitedly opened the call by saying, "You're never going to believe this." I automatically thought, oh no, the hotel room must have been a scam or a timeshare hostage situation because it was so cheap. It had to be too good to be true. Nope, those were not his next words. He said, we just found out that this hotel is famous for being haunted. He started to tell me a story about how odd it was when they checked into the hotel and were taken to their little cottage. If I could talk tonight, that'd be good. On the hill. None of the staff would get closer than about 8 feet from the door of the room. No one came in, and they just left their luggage outside. Okay, strange. But maybe they do things differently in New Hampshire. They all kept hearing doors slam throughout their stay, but they were the only ones staying in that part of the hotel. The next day, 2 housekeeping staff came in to give them towels and to clean. The 2 women stayed together and silently hurried through their tasks as fast as they could, and were not wasting any time getting out of the cottage. By this time, everyone was getting the feeling that something was a bit off. The family started to talk about it among themselves, and then the 6-year-old just casually mentioned that while they were sleeping on the living room pull-out couch bed the night before, a man walked through the living room. He was wearing a red shirt and didn't say anything, but he whistled the tune and then walked out through a different door. Then he'd entered. She was only 6 years old, so asking what tune was he whistling, or what era was his clothes, or what did he look like, were all fruitless questions, because she was just too young to know how to answer these questions. I don't know about that, but okay. My boyfriend then told me that his sister's husband, who had also stayed home, had received a phone call from their daughter-in-law in the location the day before, but no one was on the line when he answered. She had never called him before, so he thought that was strange, and he immediately called my boyfriend's sister, his wife, I'm guessing the family member's wife, to tell her about it. Maybe it wasn't the boyfriend. I don't really like to use names. Anyway, sorry about that. That's when I told my boyfriend, okay, so that is him, that his phone had called me the night before, too, and he said, impossible. We were all asleep by then, and my phone was on the bedside table. I wish that I had kept that message with 30 seconds of static so that he could hear it, too. The group had finally gotten a little suspicious about all the strange happenings and had Googled the name of the hotel and the words ghost or haunted. And sure enough, they found out that this place had many cases reported similar to theirs, of doors slamming and men walking around whistling. The man whistling and the doors slamming can be explained pretty easily, but why were the staff so jittery and hesitant to be in that cottage? And how on earth did the phone calls happen by themselves? We plan to return there someday, just me and the boyfriend, so that I can see the hotel and experience these things myself after all. The hotel is stunningly beautiful, and the air is cool and clean. And aside from a little ghost infestation, everyone had a wonderful time. So that's the end of the story. And again, you have these situations with these phones. Going back to Sunday's show, I don't know that all the things that the writer tried to explain away. I don't know if really I could do that. Seems like the kid wouldn't be lying about it, and it seems like they found stories afterward of the same thing. Excuse me, but so yeah, this is all talking about these places that seem to be haunted in one way or another. Again, I don't really pick themes when I do these episodes. If a story seems interesting, I grab it, and they all just kind of fell into this kind of category, these kinds of stories. So, and it's funny because I've heard of other shows that do this, and they even get stories from people, which so far we haven't really gotten a ton. But that's just a hint for anyone that wants to send in stories. But anyway, and I've heard other shows talk about how when they make these shows, they do the same thing. They share whatever they get, and yet themes will still pop up. So, I think that is pretty amazing. Yeah, syncs happen. Yep. Just reading the chat here. Yeah, so really neat. I really enjoyed these stories tonight. I hope you all did as well. And that will do it for tonight. Tomorrow, again, Derek and I will be talking comic books and the paranormal. And really looking forward to that episode. So thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow night on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care.